I would like to welcome our guest speaker today, Cynthia Escobar. Good morning, Cynthia.
Good morning.
How are you today?
I'm feeling fantastic. Happy to be here.
Thank you, Cynthia, for being here. Remember, Cynthia is here for the next 20 minutes. We are live. If you want to ask her a question, feel free to put a comment and ask a question. I'm sure she'll be happy to answer. If you have a question for me, no, don't do it. Just for Cynthia. It will be great.
Okay. That's great.
If you like our show, give us a like, some love. Let us know where you're from, where you at, and let's get started.
Let's get started.
Now, Cynthia, today we're talking about befriending your fears in real estate. When
Yes.
when I saw that topic, I just loved the word like befriending your fears. Um, I know as real estate agent, fears, real estate agents, and any salespeople,
Mhm.
it's a big factor of becoming successful. And I know for me, I guess I was lucky when I was a real estate agent because I grew up in a project. I grew up in a ghetto, and my fear was to never go back to the area where I grew up. So being a salesperson, doing cold calling or doing all these things that people fear was not a fear factor for me because I had a bigger fear from the past. So I didn't care to make these 100 calls a day or knocking on door. It wasn't a fear. So I had this mind switch for me that I did not connect these things with fear. And I think real estate agents sometimes they connect the right mindset with the word fear. Can we talk about that?
Oh, absolutely. And I love what you're saying. I love what you're saying because here's the truth is that we want to keep our attention on the ends, right? Instead of thinking of all the steps that we got to take. So in a way, you did that. Your attention was on not going back there. Right? I'm not going back there. So I'm going to take this journey and see and let it take me. Let me go this direction. Right? So your attention wasn't on, oh my goodness, what is it going to be like to take all these action steps and to have to do this and this and that? Your attention was on what you wanted. Right? It wasn't the steps you had to take. It's what you wanted. You wanted to never go back there and you wanted to go this direction. And so that's one of the ways that we work with fear. And for a lot of us, I do cold calling as well. So I know you real estate agents, man, there's fear that we have to walk through. And I love how you said you're not scared of that. But I will say that for so many of us, right, making those cold calls, even warm calls, handing out business cards, right? It's networking. There's a certain fear that goes into that, and the majority of the time, in my experience of that, the fear is of rejection, right? So the fear is of rejection. So we're thinking in our head, oh well, what are they going to say, and what do they say no, and and what's going to happen, and the truth is we have no idea what's going to happen, but I remember one time talking to my coach, and you're going to love this. I was talking to my coach about a big decision that I was going to make. And she, I called her and I'm like, I don't know if I should do this. And it's the same as if you're selling a home or if you're making or passing out a card, you can apply this. And I'm telling her, I'm not sure what to do. And she tells me, okay, Cynthia, well, what's the worst that can happen? So I start telling, okay, well, I make this investment and this happens and I fail and I go into debt and blah, 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 on and on. She says, okay, now what's the best that could happen? So I go into explaining what the best outcome could possibly be. Well, it does great. I, triple my income, on and on and on. And she says, okay, now you have two potential possibilities in front of you. One is based out of fear and one based out of faith. Right? The scary one and the fantastic one. And she says, do you know what fear and faith have in common? She said, they both have you believe in something you can't see.
Do you
They both
always
have you believe.
visualize yourself? Do you always visualize yourself with the fear and the faith before you making these calls or before you making this?
Absolutely. So what I want to do is before I go into anything, I want to bring into my mind the best possible outcome. That's what I'm doing 100% of the time, because I don't want to, because for one, I want to take confident action. I want to feel good when I'm making that call. I want to feel good when I'm talking to that corporation. But also, there's power in your clarity. So I will devise what I want to create and what it looks like before I go into any action, really. And just, so we know, like, our mind wants us to take that, we have an opportunity in front of us, and our mind has tricked us into thinking, oh, well, what if this happens? And what if that happens? And what if I fail? And what we want to stop that and really put our attention back on what we really would love. Make sense?
Yes. The
Yeah.
vision, what it could give you if you pick up that phone.
Absolutely.
Look at the negative part, but the positive one. Another way I see sometimes, like a lot of salespeople or real estate agent conquering fear, and unfortunately is not the best way to do it, is when there is a drastic change in their life. And it could be like something simple. We all go through that. We have to pay your mortgage at the end of the month. You're not making a sale. You know you have to pay it in 10 days. What are you going to do? You'll pick up that phone when you have to make your mortgage. The fear goes away for some reason, right? When there is something happening, it's like, I know I have things to take care, and I'm going to have to make that calls no matter what. So that comfort zone kind of go away from us. And because we have that comfort zone, some kind of magic appear.
Well, this is such an important topic. And this really is one of the things that I wanted to bring here is, okay, well, what is fear? And listen, you and I, biologically, we evolved with a system that keeps us protected. So what happened is when we were evolving and we were hunters and gatherers and we were walking through the forest, we wanted to know when it gets silent, don't go there. That means there's an animal, or, this part of the river is going to wash us away, or fire is hot. So our body, what it did is we developed with this system, what we call our paradigms or our belief system. And what it keeps us safe in that we know, okay, we can't cross that part of the river. We're going to be washed down, or stay away from that area. The lions are out there. So it keeps us safe. And when we're in the vicinity of those areas, our belief system knows this isn't safe. Fear shoots up through our body, and we notice. Right? It doesn't matter if we're happy and excited. If fear shoots up through your body, you're like, oh, whoa, I got to go this direction. But here's what's happened is that as we grew up, right? We were these free, lively little kids. And then what happens is our parents say, you got to be careful, right? We learn not to fall down. We learn not to be, some of us learn, all men are dogs, or don't love, keep your heart guarded, or be careful with people, right? We learned all of these things, and that becomes our paradigms. It becomes our belief system. And then when we're in the vicinity of that which we would love, the fear, not that which we would love, but when we're in the vicinity of that which we're scared of, the fear shoots through our body and stops us. But here's the truth is that the fear is your comfort zone. Like we talk about our box, right? Anytime you get out of your normal routine, anytime you do something new, your paradigms kick in and say, no, don't go there, come back over here. And then it brings us back to center, okay? So know that when you can, and this is why I chose the topic, befriending your fear. Because if you want different results, you have to take different action, period. You cannot continue to take the same action and get different results. It's not going to happen, right? So we have to take different action, which means you're going to take different action. You're going to go away from your comfort zone. You're going to go up towards the edge of your box, and fear is going to kick in. All right. Now, courage doesn't mean we don't have fear. Courage means we move forward with fear, right? Yeah. And my coach tells me when I'm all scared, I don't want to do that. Mind you, the importance of a coach here, I'm just going to point that out because I have a coach who guides me through all of these things. But when I'm calling her and, I'm so scared. And what if that happens? And what if that happens? She'll tell me, Cynthia, this is the good news. This is the good news. People, when we can start to recognize that our fear is actually good news because it means that we're coming up the edge of our comfort zone. That's some powerful stuff. Make sense?
Oh, yes. Yes. And the result of it, the result is beautiful.
Absolutely.
Now, what are some of the fears that real estate agents or entrepreneurs facing daily?
Well, everyone's different, right? Because as you mentioned, you weren't scared of the cold calling and things like that. But you think of, for me, in my position, in my experience, and what I've seen with the real estate agents I've worked with, it's usually the cold calling. It's the calling old clients. It's the reaching out, the networking, the connecting with different hospitals or different corporations to be their real estate agent, right? It's the just connecting with other people that is the biggest fear. And it's a day-to-day activity. So you know that if for whoever's listening, I know that there's a time where you thought to yourself, I should really call that person. That could end up really well. And the fear is almost sick. You almost get sick to your stomach. Because you don't want to take that action. Now, I know that some people have experienced that, but that's what I know. It's the day-to-day routine, getting out of your comfort zone, meeting new people, putting yourself out there, and the possibility of failure, which is another big one too. And what would you say to that?
Well, now, what is the number one killer of goals and dreams in the real estate industry? What do you
fear?
think?
Absolutely. Fear, 100%. It's a fear that stops us from taking the action.
Even over comfort zone, or would you put them like they are similar?
Oh, they're the same thing. They're really the same thing, because our comfort zone is where there's no fear, right? As soon as we get out of our comfort zone, the fear kicks in and whoop. So it's the same thing. It's just different ways of explaining it. Make sense?
Yes, it does.
Yeah.
Now, can you share with us a story about a time when you faced your fear?
Oh, I feel like I do it all the time. Yes, absolutely. So there was, about 10 years ago, I started a business with my husband. And it was my dream business, right? And it's me and my husband doing the business. The kids are involved. The household surrounds this business, our schedule, everything surrounds this business. I'm good at what I do. I mean, I was really, really good at it. We made a lot of money. And it was a couple years in where I just felt like this is not right for me. I don't want to do this anymore. And I remember every time I went into work, I felt like I had a ton of bricks on my chest. Like I just did not want to be there anymore. Initially, it was my dream life.
You're talking about the coaching, right?
Yeah. So this is a previous business that I had with my husband.
Okay.
And so I became very unhappy in that business, very unhappy. And I remember one day he comes in and he starts telling me, Cynthia, here's my dream for the business. And he starts saying that we're going to go to here and do this and do this and do this. And I'm imagining it as he's saying it. And then he tells me, and this is where you fit in. You're going to do this and this and this. And I'm listening and I'm like, all of a sudden his words went into wah, 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 wah. And all I could think was, I cannot do this anymore. And so I literally made a decision at that moment. And it was really scary that I had to get out of that business. And I had to find something else to do.
What business?
That's a dog. We were dog trainers. Okay. We have a dog training business and a very successful dog training, doggy daycare, all of that, right? So I made a decision, but there was a lot of fear that it was my business. And then the thought is, well, what am I going to do? And what if I fail? Imagine I leave my own business and then I fail at what I want to do. And what I did is I stayed close to a coach. I stayed close to a mentor. Right? Somebody that could help me move along. And I took whatever steps I could take from where I was at. But here's the truth. And like you said, when we experience fear and when we move through the fear, our growth and our results are so tremendous. The transformation that comes from that is so tremendous that it's almost like it's almost shocking. But what happens is we're making our box a little bit bigger, right? We're making the space that we can play in a little bit wider, right? So this is what happens every time we move forward with fear. But every day, it's like, making the calls, connecting with huge corporations, like, McDonald's corporate headquarters, right? Like, like making connections with huge corporations, having to call them and be like, hey, there's some fear in that, right? Networking, handing my car out, always inviting people into the work that I do. there's fear around all of it. So on a daily basis, there's a tremendous fear. But I would say that leaving my previous business was one of the scariest things that I've ever done. That and having children.
So there's something probably happened between you leaving the first business to now being a professional speaker and a mentor. Do you think having, like you said, that mentor around you open your eyes and help you understanding to conquer your fear?
Absolutely. I don't think there's any way I would have been able to create what I created without a mentor. I mean, an in-depth mentor who was watching me, who I could call and be like, oh my goodness, this is happening, who I had support with, because left to my own devices, I would have fallen back into the comfort zone. You know, it's proven that we're 95% more likely to achieve a goal if we have the support of a coach or a mentor, or, you know, somebody that's going to keep us accountable. 95% more likely to achieve our goals, because left to our own devices, we don't we don't do it. We go back into the comfort zone.
And I think we also need to analyze all the people that are around us, because even if you have a good mentor, if your husband does not believe in you, or your friends have that thought or said, forget about it, you know, quit doing it, go get a job, or whatever it is, it's going to affect your results. So you really need to analyze everything and not just the mentor, right?
Well, here's the truth is that what happened for me is that my husband wasn't supportive, and my mom thought I was crazy, and my sisters were kind of sketchy about it. And it was a really beautiful, powerful lesson, because what happened for me is I had to know that this was right for me in absence of their support. So I had to continuously know, this is what I'm going to do, and I'm going to create success. I'm going to create success no matter what they say, right? And so I really put myself in that position. But it was my coach that gave me the link to that, to help me to understand that it doesn't matter what anybody else says. It only matters what I say. So that's one aspect of it, is believe in yourself. First and foremost, know that you are capable of doing whatever you want to do, and hold that for yourself no matter what they say. And then the second one is, you know, one of the principles that I teach is the universal law of proximity, where those around us influence us. And I love this. Let's do this, okay? So my teacher tells me, okay, think of the 5 people you hang out with the most. The 5 people you hang out with the most, okay? Now think of their income. What do they earn every year? And average that out. And for 95% of us, that's our income.
Oh, wow.
It kind of blew my mind, because I was like, oh yeah, that's right. So
it's personality too, because you could be with these people because they have a great personality and not just base it on income too.
Oh no, well no, that's not what I'm saying. But what I'm saying is that it's kind of like birds of a feather flock together kind of thing. Energetically, we're a match to each other. And while we can get rich and have success and do well without anybody around us, the truth is the people around us absolutely do influence us. So when you want
a mentor and a coach, they make you aware of that, of things that you don't see. Like, hey, you need to analyze who your spirit is. You need to,
it's all about you. It's all about me. My journey is about me getting clear with my thoughts, knowing when the fear comes up, knowing how to navigate that, trusting and believing in myself, which is really scary sometimes.
Be passionate too. I think it's a big one. If you're not passionate, if you pick something, you believe in yourself, but you're not passionate on your product, that's going to affect the result.
Well, and like you did, the passion comes from thinking of the end result. If you're thinking, oh God, I have to call 20 people today, it doesn't feel passionate, right? So you want to keep your attention on the end result, because that makes us feel passionate. I'm going to sell 5 multi-million-dollar homes this month, whatever it is for you, but really keeping your eye on that versus, oh goodness, this is what I have to do, and I have to do this, I have to do this, so that you can keep that passion.
And the numbers don't lie, right? I mean, you know, if you make that many calls, it's going to be a sale at a certain point. So
Absolutely.
you can really make that vision come true. It's just, are you mentally ready for the success? Or, you know,
Mm.
this is what you need to think about. Are you ready for your vision to appear? Because it can appear. It's right
Yeah,
there. You just need to
absolutely.
go through this little obstacle.
Oh, absolutely. You know, my dad, one time when I was in my early 20s, my dad, I used to take him out dancing with me because he was single. And he'd go out and ask all the women to dance, and he'd get no, 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 no. But he would always come back with a smile on his face, right? And I remember one time I looked at him and said, Pops, why are you always so happy when they say no? And he tells me, because I know that 1 out of 10 women is going to say yes. So every no gets me closer to the one that's going to say yes.
Aww.
And so every time I'm calling, I'm cold calling, I'm calling corporations, things like that. That's what I hold is with every no, guess what? You're one step closer. You're one call closer to that yes. You're one call, and that is absolutely true.
Yes, no games you can do in the sales environment to motivate you. Like, okay, every 20 call, I'm going to take a break. Or, I mean, there's so many things you can do to boost your energy to want to make the next call.
Absolutely.
And
Absolutely. And go ahead. No, you go ahead. So I was going to say, you know, one of the things that I came to realize a couple of years ago when I first started doing the cold calling is that, you know, I had energy around it. I thought, you know, it's kind of like a rejection. I feared, what are they going to say? Are they going to get irritated with me? Are they going to say no? And then I realized, you know, it's kind of like just hold this image in mind for those who do struggle with this, but it's kind of like I have a really delicious cookie. Like I've got a plate of delicious chocolate chip cookies. And I come up to you and I say, do you want a cookie? Right. And I know they're good. I know they're delicious. I know you're going to be happy if you eat one. And you say, no, no, thank you. And I say, oh, okay. There's nothing personal about it, right? That is not rejection. You're not rejecting my cookie. You just don't want a cookie. And so what I started doing is when I would make these calls is I would hold that image in mind. They're not rejecting me. They're just not ready for my delicious cookies right now. You know, and so that helps to relieve, because when we get a no, we tend to take it personal, and it really isn't personal. Really isn't personal. So,
it's
and
an
the more that we're willing,
would it be an ego thing, thinking we're less than what we're supposed to be because someone rejected us?
oh, it's all yes, yeah, absolutely. I mean, when we feel rejected because somebody says a no, then we're thinking something about ourselves that person didn't even say. Perhaps we hear ourselves, we're saying to ourselves, oh, well, I'm not good enough, right? Or I'm not wise enough, or I'm not young enough, or I'm not old enough, or I'm not pretty enough. There's always something in everybody's head. So when we get a no and we're sensitive to it, it's because we're telling ourselves something that's not true.
And I think rejection make us less secure about ourselves. We connect like that. Oh wait, people rejecting us. Am I good enough? And now um, we're losing about believing in ourselves, because that's
Oh,
how.
absolutely. And absolutely. And you know, and so it wouldn't even be rejection if we didn't feel not good about ourselves. So what I would encourage everybody to do, and what I encourage my clients to do is to really sit before you make that call and remember who you are. Like remember all the good things about you. Every single one of us is a powerful being. I don't care who you are, there is greatness in you. So take a moment and really connect with who you really are, and how amazing you truly are, and the service that you can provide that person, so that before you even go into the call, you're feeling good, and then make that call. And guess what? When you're feeling good and they say no, it's not going to bother you. But if you're feeling down and scared and insecure, you make that call, you get a no, you're going to be like, oh, more reason to feel this way. It's just confirming what I said. So you want to really take a moment to really remember who you are and what you're capable of. And then you go in. Okay.
Talk to your mentor before you start calling.
Talk to your mentor. Yeah. Yeah. And if anybody,
Talk to your mentor.
and generate state. And in fact, there's a link below for anybody who's watching that wants to have a one-on-one with me to see how I can help you. And really what we're going to do is get clear on what you would really love so that I give you some clarity, help you figure out what the next steps are for you. There's a link below with my booking page. You can click that, you can go on there, and I'll offer everybody who's watching this a free one-on-one consultation with me. Okay, and it's just a 60-minute consultation. But mentorship is of the utmost importance, you know, and education, just like what we're doing here.
I agree with you, Cynthia. I don't care if you like a brand new agent, brand new salesperson, or even a top producer or a big executive. Having a coach is so important in your life. Like you just said, like even when you were talking about the vision of, you know, look at the opportunity, someone that reminds you that, you know, it needs to be like a constant reminder, not once a year. You need to always have someone say, hey, yes, you can do it. Look at the opportunity if you're doing it.
Oh, you just hit it right on the head. And, you know, you think of the #1 golfer in the industry, the top producing companies, the #1 tennis player, who are they working with? They're working with the coach. We don't stop. In fact, it is that helps us to get the success we want. So even if they're #1 in the industry, they're still working with somebody, because left to our own devices, it's really hard to break the patterns that don't serve us, right?
And
so we need to,
it's not something you don't just do.
Bam, it's gone.
Yeah.
It's not like that.
No, it's like working out. You can't expect being like all buff after one workout. It takes 3 months it takes time, and you need to be consistent. You can't just work out 3 months and expecting to be fit for 10 years. No. Absolutely. Mentor is for life.
Forever. It's a forever process.
It's forever. So if you don't have a mentor, Cynthia is offering a free consultation, and you can access to the link on the post. Cynthia is a life coach, a spiritual coach. You are also a professional speaker.
Yes, ma'am.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And you talk for like big corporation, mainly business, or also in the personal lives too, right? Not just
I do go into businesses and do group coaching, but I also have my programs where it's one-on-one for people who really are ready to make some major transformation in their life. And guess what? You know, it's fun. Like learning these principles, knowing them, putting them into our lives. Not only do we see success, but we see more joy, more freedom, better health. You know, there's so many ways in which we can grow. It's so powerful to have an opportunity to be in this work and teach the work as well.
Yes, you feel so much better. And even if you do that for your business, it's going to affect in a good way your personal life. It's all connected.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Cynthia, thank you very, very much for being here today.
That was fun. Thank you.
Thank you. Remember, everyone, if you want to get your free consulting with Cynthia, we have a link on the post, or you can just email Allison James Corporate and we will send you her information. Bye, everyone. Thank you.
Bye.